Right, I think I'm live. How's everyone doing? All zero of you, because this is my first stream ever on YouTube. Um, my name is John, and this is my game, Fantasy Football Tactics. And I thought I would try to do a little game development live as one of the many ways I'm trying to get the word out about the game. So, I'm gonna try it and see if it's fun. Hope you guys like it. You can let me know if you're watching it live or watching it later by liking, subscribing, as they say, and leaving comments in the chat and all that good stuff. Um, yeah, so let's get started. I'm gonna just quickly see if I can tell if I'm live somehow, if it's actually working. Is anyone out there? View my channel. Ooh, it looks like it's live. Oh yeah, it's working. Cool. Let me see if I can actually hear it. Oh yeah, cool. Great. All right, thanks for that. For bearing with me. I'll kind of keep that up and make sure the feed doesn't cut out. So today, well, this actually isn't my first live stream. I tried one on Monday on Twitch. I don't think anybody watched it, maybe one or two people. But I created the first new ability for the game in a while. It's called Punt, and the defender position can learn Punt. And basically, what it does is you can turn the ball over to your opponent, and then it has a 50% chance of fumbling. So it's kind of cool. Maybe I'll start by showing off how that works. Let me reset this little game here, and let me do nothing but, we'll do all defenders, so you can watch the AI use this. It's pretty cool. I think it'll introduce some interesting strategies. But anyway, that was pretty fun, and I actually think that a task like that works well for a live stream forum. So I thought we would build another new ability today. I'm kind of fleshing out some abilities first before I move on with like the main quest and all of that stuff. So you guys want a different level? Well, I haven't shown off this level much yet. This is the bridge. The Cambrian Bridge, I think, is what's going to be called. So these pink guys, this is their home field. They're all defenders, and they all should have the ability punt. So as soon as somebody gets the ball, we'll see if they do something interesting with it. Yeah, as you can see, punted it and fumbled it. So pretty good like field advantage if you can get it to work out. Just kind of watch this for a minute here. The computer playing against itself. Yeah, so there's sort of like a risk-reward analysis or cost-benefit analysis, whatever you want to say, in the AI, where it'll only try to punt if it's sort of like a significant field advantage. I haven't really talked, I mean, if you're a subscriber to my newsletter, or if you've wishlisted the game or followed me on socials or anything like that, you probably know about the game, but I should probably tell you a bit about it since this is my first video on YouTube. So the idea, so the game's called Fantasy Football Tactics, and the idea is that the gameplay is heavily inspired by Final Fantasy Tactics, actually even more inspired by the advanced version, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, which is my favorite. I know I'm in the minority on that, but I really liked just the approachability of it, and so I'm trying to capture that. But I'm bringing in sort of the low poly 3D aesthetic of the PlayStation 1 version, as you can see. And yeah, so I think it's looking pretty good. You can let me know what you think. So the idea is to take like that kind of gameplay, but make it a football game. So instead of focusing on trying to destroy and knock out your opponent, you're trying to get the ball and control it and carry it into your goal zone, or the end zone, as it's called in American football. So there's a lot of American football references and influence, like throwing, passing, pitching, running. I'm trying to also bring in a few soccer influences as well, but that's uh, maybe more in my head than it is in reality so far. But there's at least a position called the striker that is sort of an amalgamation of, the striker position in soccer or football, if you're international, and running backs and wide receivers in American football. So they're really good at sort of going fast, carrying the ball, moving the ball, scoring, that kind of thing. Anyway, so that's the idea of the game. I'm still kind of working on the meta game loop a touch, but the overall idea is that you'll create your team, kind of pick which positions you want to start out with, almost like the original Final Fantasy. Like pick which four you want to start with, and then go do your first match. And then as you win matches and as you play through matches, you can see all these characters are getting experience points on successful moves. They'll level up. You'll learn new abilities, and then eventually, the part that I'm still kind of figuring out is how do you change your job or they're called positions in my game. So how do you change your position so that you can learn different skills and kind of mix and match and do lots of different builds for your team. And then there's a world map feature that I've shown a little bit of that we can show at some point on here, but you'll kind of travel around and play against all the teams. My thought is there'll be like, 8 or 16 sort of like core missions, and then lots of like side missions that you can do as well to kind of like max out your team and unlock all of the abilities, which I'm planning on 64 total. We'll see if that's too much scope, but the system I built for adding abilities works pretty well, and that's a good segue. So let's build a new ability. I'm going to revert the position changes I just made. I don't have my get client on the stream, but you can trust me that I'm discarding those position changes I just made. So the ability I want to build today is called Bomb. And so if you're a fan of American football, there's sort of like some phrases that they use to describe certain passes from the quarterback. So it could be like a long bomb or it can be a bullet. Uh, and so some of the abilities for the thrower position are inspired by those terms. So I want to make one based off of Bomb, but we're going to have a little fun with it. And it's going to do some other cool stuff. At least we'll try it out. So let me set up, that's like a little teaser. Let me set up just switch these teams around. Let me set up a game that I can save off and use for testing, because if Monday was any indication, I have to iterate a lot on this. So this level is called the Gothic Pasture. It's in a land called Adora, and it's sort of rainy all the time. There's weeping willows, some mushrooms. The grass has kind of like a teal color to it, and yeah, it's kind of cool. You know what? I want to try and get a thrower on the team up here. I could hard code it, but let's see if the random generator helps me out. I'll try once more. Oh, come on, give me a thrower. I need to build some more tools to make this kind of thing easier. It's not wanting to do it. There we go. Okay, here's my thrower. So this is all just human versus human, so I'm just going to kind of set everything up. I want to put the thrower up on the building here, because something I haven't done yet with the abilities is sort of like actually modify how the terrain impacts the ability. But you know what I need to do too? I need to actually give the thrower the ball. So let me... Who can grab the ball? Can you grab the ball? No. Close though. That's a pretty good position. Okay, let's give her the ball. Oh, I can't give it to her. I can do a double pitch back here. Okay. All right. And then the bomb, I think, is going to go like straight ahead. And then the range that it can go will depend on the height, is sort of what I was thinking. So there'll be a natural advantage if you can get your throwers up higher. They'll be able to throw the ball further, which I think makes sense. Let's put her right on the edge there. And then let's call this good for here. I'm going to save off this state. And then after we get like a basic range implemented, I'll probably move one of the other units into position so that they can catch it. Before I go any further too, I did want to get rid of, or at least comment out the match intro state for now. Let me just see what happens if I just do this. Go straight into the game without the animation. I don't know if this is actually going to work. I need to put in a proper like debug flag for that. If you have done any development of any kind, especially game development, as I've been doing for the last few months, the task list is never ending. All right, cool. So that seems to work. It would also be good if I could like preload that save state. Let's implement that. That's going to save a lot of time, not only today, but for every day going forward. So I have like this God object game manager like everybody does, but it's mostly like for dependency management and debug settings. So there's no static references to it, which I'm pretty proud of, which is great, but yeah, it still gets a little bit unwieldy. So I have some debug settings here. So let me do a debug quick save number and then a Boolean for this. And then when I load up, do start, I'm looking at starting state. But let me just check this. So if debug quick save enabled, then I think what I want to do is enter match state with, oh yeah, this is going to work great, with the debug quick save, and then just return. So just go straight into the match, and then we can look at the other debug settings. Let's see if that works. All right, so if I enable it, and then, ooh, is it one based or zero based? I don't know. I forget. I think it's probably zero based. I don't know. Here, let's see. Does this work? Ah, beautiful. Okay. That worked out better than I thought it would. Cool. So now let's actually implement the ability. I have an ability or like an action builder provider, unit action builder provider. And it's getting pretty gnarly already. So I have some ideas to break this down, but I'm not going to waste time doing that today. So just a quick over, like I built what could potentially be considered like an ability framework, and I did a lot of research on how Final Fantasy Tactics, in particular Advance, sort of structures their abilities, and I built a system that is inspired by that. Let's say it's not an exact replica for sure, and all the code is my own. Like I didn't look at their code or anything like that, but just read some like game facts that kind of broke down a bunch of the mechanics and tried to design a system that supported exactly what they were talking about. So there's a lot of places to like plug in and customize each ability. Everything down from like how does like the beginning animation work versus what effects are played, while the ability is animating, and like then the actual like code logic to, you know, for random percentage successes and ranges and what impact does it actually have, like how much damage is dealt, all the elemental checks, like all of this stuff is sort of built into this system. So it makes sense to only one person, which is me, and that's okay for now. It's not super well documented, but you can kind of see there's a pattern to everything. And so far, it's it's the exact same system that powers every single ability. So if you've watched any of the videos, there's like status effects like hurry up, there's pitching the ball around, there's throwing the ball, there's tackling, there's like the sheep barter ability, like the game breaker stuff is really unusual, and it all fits into the same system. So it's really customizable. And let's see if it works to do our bomb ability. So the closest one that we have today, so it's going to be pretty similar to bullet, which is just like a normal pass. But the thing that I think is going to make it interesting is I also want it to like explode when it lands and sort of like cause some fire damage. So the risk reward here is that you can make up a lot of ground and like throw it to a teammate if your thrower is pretty far back, but the teammate's going to take some damage. And then maybe if there's any like enemies trying to like surround that guy, they're going to take damage too. So it'd be kind of interesting. You won't want to throw it to somebody that's almost out of health because then they might get knocked out and have to go to the medical tent. So I think it'll be kind of cool. And let's just start bare bones by uh, getting it working, naming it, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to need to create a new, it's called a unit action type. We'll call it bomb. All right. And so if we're generating the bomb ability, it's going to come here. Before I go any further, I also want to, this is how I hard code like which abilities are available for each of the positions right now. And I've made some progress on being able to customize this, but it's not actually done yet. So this is how we'll do it today. So if there's a thrower, then they get one special ability right now, and it'll be this new bomb ability. So let's go back here, and then we can kind of leave everything else the same. For now, I just want to like get it up and running and working. So let's make sure that compiles. Great. And then I do have localization already set up for the game. So it's going to yell at me if I don't have good strings in here. So I'm just trying to get into the habit of doing this every time. So we need a couple of strings. We need an action hint. And I'll show you, this is basically like a small description that scrolls across the screen, like in this area right here. Very similar to the Tactics Ogre remake UI is where I got the idea from. And it just scrolls across like a news chyron saying what the ability does, how it works. And my hope is that this is helpful enough to where I don't have to explicitly implement like a ton of tutorial things. You should be able to just pick it up and kind of start pressing buttons and playing. So let's describe what this is going to do. So um, lobs a long high bomb across the field that detonates on impact. And what did I do for the flame? Because it's going to be similar to flame. Standard magical damage. I need to actually implement elements like fire and stuff. So it doesn't really refer to anything yet. It detonates on impact, dealing fire damage to the receiver and nearby units and surrounding units. That's a bit long, but long lobs let's just say a long bomb. Lob's a long bomb. Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah's long bomb across the field that detonates on impact, dealing fire damage to the receiver and surrounding units. That's it. That's exactly what I wanted to do. So this is our action hint. In a different table, don't ask me why, I have the actual name. So if we look at like punt, it just says punt action name. So we need to create bomb action name. And I have utilities that handle all the lookups here based on that enum that we added in the beginning, which that code's a little bit boring, but if you're really curious, I can show you, but I figure it's probably not interesting for today. And I sort of have some, I can show a little bit of this. I have some Japanese text in here that I tried to translate myself based on my limited knowledge. But I'm not really keeping up with it. So you can see that this is just for me to test. And now I have it set up to just give me a big warning. There's like a huge gnarly string that shows up if I ever forget a translation. So if you're working on a project, I recommend any kind of project, whether it's a game or not, you should localize from the beginning because it's a pain to go back in afterwards. Even if you're not planning on releasing in other languages, it's usually like no extra effort as you're developing to do localization, or very, very little. So, all right. So now there's one other thing. So we have the image that needs to show up in the button, and for that I have another system set up here. Is this going to show up? All good. Okay. All right. So let me come back over here. So these are the icons for the abilities, and it's a one-to-one with the enums. So it'll go from left to right, 0, 1, 2, 3, up to 7, and then 8, 9, 10, 11, based on whatever the integer value of the enum is. So bomb will go right here. And I was thinking, this is like the little ball icon that I worked on with Nicole Wood, who did the artwork for my Steam page. I'm really happy with. And it originally started out as just like literally a soccer ball, but it looked, I showed it to some friends and they were like, oh, it looks like a soccer ball. And I agreed with them. And so I intended for it to, the fantasy football in my game is sort of like a baby toy O ball, if you're familiar with those. So it's like, it's just this ball, but it has a bunch of holes in it. It's really easy to grip. And so the ball is meant to be kind of like that, where it's like easy to grab, at least on one side. And so that's what these holes are. But anyway, this icon is sort of consistent. It's in the logo. If it's in the icon, then that means to perform the ability, that unit has to, or that player has to be holding onto the ball. So that's sort of a consistent theme. If it doesn't have it in there, then that means that you may or may not be like allowed to use the ability if you have the ball. So this one, you need it. And I thought we could kind of make it look like a bomb, like classic cartoon style. So maybe I'll like rotate this a little bit. And then let's just do like a square. This is, if I keep doing this and you watch me stream a lot, you're going to realize that my forte is coding and not this. But I can do my best. This is the life of a game developer. And it doesn't quite match up here. I have like some snapping on, and that's probably screwing this over a little bit. Or no, that actually come down a bit. That looks pretty okay. I think I need to turn off snapping. Where do I do that? There we go. So I was thinking we could make the ball look like it has a little fuse on it. Let's just do a full like 45-degree. Why does that not line up? That's really interesting. Okay, yeah, that looks great. Perfect. Trying to get it centered. And now, now here's the real fun. Can I do like a little bit of an S curve of some kind? How does this tool work? Oh, that actually looks good. And I want to leave a little room. So how do I expand this? Maybe I give it a stroke. Let's choose white. And then, I don't know what's good. 5? Not bad, actually. Okay. And then I was going to bring in the fire icon, oh, which is right above me here. We could try this, or we could try like a like more of a starburst pattern. What does this look like? Is this going to look awful? It's Eh, does that look like a bomb on fire? I can't tell. It looks pretty funny, whatever it is. Let's try a star shape too, just to see how that might look instead. I feel like I've been using a bunch of material icons too. So let me, I think there's probably a pretty good material icon. There might even be a material icon for a bomb. Let me just go look for that real quick. Oh yeah, there is actually. It looks very similar to the one I just did. Interesting. I'll uh, I'll pull it in for you all to see. So they just have like 3 lines. That I did not look at this before I did this, but it's like that's a pretty universal pattern apparently. I want to thicken up the little fuse a little bit. So they have just these lines. The lines is effectively communicates it, but I kind of want to show that there's fire damage, which is why I like showing like a little bit of a flame. Uh, but let me go back to material and see if there's like a burst. There's an explosion one that looks, that doesn't, I'm not even gonna say what, that doesn't look right. Okay, what about stars? Uh, you guys will have to trust me, I'm looking through. I decided not to share my internet time. Okay, you know what, there's nothing that great here. Nothing that I like any better. So let's at least just try a couple of things. We can do like maybe a big star inside a smaller star. Let me get rid of the fill. And give it a stroke here. Let's see what this looks like. Maybe it needs to be small. That actually looks pretty good, doesn't it? I think that's what I'm going for. I think that looks less silly than the flame. I don't know. If anybody's watching and you have an opinion, let me know. But I think I'm going to go with the star. Let's try to get it centered up like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. I don't even need like an inner star, I don't think. Now for these new shapes that I just added, let me do a couple of things. So I need to join all of these, I think. Group them together. And then, actually, let me undo that. What I want to do is get rid of this drop shadow on here. and then group them together and then add a drop shadow to the entire thing. Let's see if this works how I want it to. No, that's what I was afraid of happening. That looks awful. I somehow need to like make that, like merge them into a single shape. I think is there a modify merge paths? Join paths. Nope, that didn't do what I wanted it to. Let me try that again. Oh, maybe it's make compound path. No, that looks awful. How can I do this? Disconnect path. That's not it either. Let me undo the join. Modify. At some point, I might need to move the drop shadow into Unity. I can figure this out later, though. Let's see. Let me just put the drop shadow on all. I think I have this just set to 2. I think it's hard black. Whoa, what happened there? That's really strange. Okay. I'm going to do these one at a time. And then if I do a drop shadow on this, I might need to send it back. Let's just send it to the back. For some reason, that's not bleeding on top. It is, but only so slightly. So, okay, something like that might be okay. It gives it a little visual. Try to center it a little bit more. Oops. Let me group them now. Okay. I think that's going to be centered. Okay, that's a good start. Let's just do that for now. There's like so many details to clean up later. So I just export this as a PNG to a texture that's already imported into Unity. So this will just replace it. And now, finally, that part took a lot longer. Sorry for that. I should have had that pre-baked like on a food show. But now, if we fast forward here to our thrower, you can see the bomb icon show up, just like magic. Looks pretty good, I think. I'm happy with that for now. I'm going to resave so that the thrower has the ball. And if we do this now, it's just going to be the standard bullet, which needs a direct line of sight to an ally teammate. And it either goes straight ahead or along the diagonals. And I think there's a range of like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oh, 6 maybe. Yeah. Like I said, the thrower, I think eventually these ranges, I want them to increase based on their relative height, the thrower's height, so that there's sort of an incentive to get the ball to your thrower at a high elevation, which gives some meaning to levels like this that actually have elevation. So if we do this, you can see that it sort of runs an animation. And oh yeah, I forgot to look, sneak peek at the rewind feature if you haven't seen it yet. I forgot to look at the description text. Lobs a long bomb across the field that detonates on impact, dealing fire damage to the receiver and surrounding units. It actually fits on screen, so it must not be too bad. Great. Now let's actually implement the thing. So here's the first thing. This is the range that you can select your target from. And this one's not going to be right. And in fact, I don't have one that matches sort of the pattern I'm thinking. So what I'm thinking is that basically you can throw a bomb out directly in front of you. Maybe there's a sort of a width to it of like 2 or 3. Probably 3. It needs to be. There's a lot of odd numbers in this game because there actually needs to be like a center tile for the ball, and everything needs to be evenly spaced apart. So odd numbers actually have a center in a grid-based game like this. So probably 3. And then I'm thinking you can't like throw super close to you. So maybe it needs to be like at least 3 spaces in front of you, and then that's where like the near target zone can start, and it'll go out for, once again based on like what your current elevation is. So it'll probably have some minimum, and then you'll get a bonus for every height you're up of some sort. So let's build a new range. That's what we need first. This one so far feels fairly specific to the bomb. My hope is that as I kind of keep building abilities, that many of them will reuse and reshare lots of these ranges. But let's just call this a bomb range, bomb ability range for now. And then it's going to be somewhat similar to the ally ahead, which requires that it's a teammate. I guess it should be, oops, should probably be using those terms a little bit more consistently, ally versus teammate. Okay. So bomb ability range. And then that has a hard-coded range for now that we probably don't need, but let's just stick with it. So get possible target tiles. This is where we need to iterate through the field and find all of the tiles on the grid that you're allowed to throw the ball to. So we get the direction to the goal zone and the player for the unit. The player is like whether you're player 1 or 2, and that can tell you like which way you're trying to go. So a lot of this is good. Like here's straight ahead line, which is actually what we want. So let's get rid of the diagonal lines. So we want straight ahead, and then basically like some constant width on along the side, running along the side. Mm. Oh, right. So this is a check right here where if there's a unit on the tile and they're not on the same team, then it blocks the line. So for the bullet ability, that I was mentioning that if you have direct line of sight, then you can throw it, and if you don't have direct line of sight, then you can't. And that's what this logic does, which we don't need here. So I can just get rid of that. All right, so we have the from tile. We want to get the adjacent tile. So we'll iterate on this. So this is going to start, like I said, there needs to be a gap. So we'll come back and add the gap. This is going to just get that next tile. And we're going to add that tile and then the tile on either side of it. So we need to get the orthogonal tiles to the direction to goal zone here. So we'll add that tile. And then let's get the adjacent tiles. So our adjacent tile positive is going to be field get adjacent tile. And let's do the unsafe version. So unsafe means that it'll return a null if you're like on the edge of the field, which I've been developing this game for a long time, and I probably spent like in the early prototypes. I don't know. I wasted definitely weeks on like null issues, like when I needed null and when I didn't, and then I realized the default should be that it never returns null, which is usually a better thing to do in coding. But these abilities, there's a lot of logic that's actually simpler when you know that you're at the end. And so when I get unsafe, it's a reminder to myself to always do a null check. Works for me. I don't know. So I want to get the adjacent tile to this adjacent tile. That's gnarly. Let's go ahead and move to the next tile. I'll do it from next tile. And then we need an orthogonal. I think I have an extension method. So direction to goal is on dot. Orthogonal direction. It just rotates it by 90 degrees. That's interesting. So that works perfectly fine for us, but I'll show you. I won't be able to make any assumptions about this being positive, so I'll just do adjacent tile 1. Okay, so orthogonal, orthogonal. So the first one will be orthogonal here, and then bar adjacent tile 2. Boy, the autocomplete on this is like so hit or miss. I don't know if anybody else uses code. So it's next tile, and then what we want to do is orthogonal dot get opposite. I think there's like an opposite direction. Oh my gosh, autocomplete. Okay. So what this means is get one of the angles that's 90 degrees from our like goal to goal axis, and then you get the tile that's in that direction. And then if we went like positive, so let's just say that it's the goals are on the x-axis, this will return either z positive or z negative. And then we use that to get the first tile. And then this, if it's z positive, this will return z negative. And if it's z negative, this will return z positive. So we'll get the 2 tiles on either side. This sort of has a hard-coded radius of 1 going each direction, but we could throw this in a loop if we want to make it bigger. And then we just want to add these if they're not null. So all right, just like that. So no real magic tricks here that I'm aware of. Could build a little extension for a list saying like add if not null or something, but it seems like overkill. Okay, so this will just keep looping around and adding all of the adjacent tiles. Perfect. And then area of effect. This is where things are going to get interesting because, and I didn't implement this until Brian, who's a part of the Colorado game dev group, I showed this game to that group, and I think I was demoing for maybe 10 seconds before Brian said, "You're missing area of effect." And so I thought that was really good feedback. And I finally implemented, I tried to implement it before I got my Steam page launched, but I realized it was going to require a refactor to the entire ability system. That actually only took me like 20 minutes, but I thought I was scared of it while I was trying to get the Steam page up. So anyway, area of effect just highlights the tiles on the field where something's going to happen, and it's helpful for a couple of reasons. One, like it'll just kind of tell you what to do, but I actually think it's more helpful as a education tool. So once again, kind of coming back to the concept of tutorials, my thinking with a lot of this stuff is it's pretty boring if you're like, and you're not going to like get everything if you just like go through an encyclopedia for a tactics game and read everything. And so I kind of want all the information to kind of always be available in context of what you're trying to do. And so the area of effect, when it highlights on the field, you'll start memorizing and learning like the shape patterns, saying like, okay, if I do a fire spell, then it's going to be a cross pattern here, or if I do a tackle, it's going to do this, that, and the other thing. So it's a visual and also logical thing. And for this, uh, well, one other thing on area of effect, there's a concept of primary and secondary, and then I actually need to add even a third one. So there's sort of like, what's the primary target, or who are the primary targets of this? And then if that succeeds, is there any like spillover, anything extra that might happen to like other surrounding or whatever nearby units? And then there's a third concept I haven't added yet, but it is in one of the abilities. It's just not shown on the screen, but it's I think Disgaea and some games have this, but it's like if you need a tile to be empty for like pushing units around uh, or things like that, then you sort of need like an empty tile concept. So all that is going into area of effect. For this ability, I think what I want is for the primary target, they are going to receive the ball, and then uh, the secondary targets are going to be hit by fire. And so that's what this list is here. So I need to generate the list of like surrounding tiles here. So let me just get surrounding tiles equals field state dot field dot get all tiles within distance of the target tile with a radius of 1. That could be configurable too. And now I think this will include the tile itself. Yeah, so what I'll need to do is a few ways around this. I need to just remove the target tile. So that'll give me my surrounding tiles, and then get the valid primary targets. Yep, make sure the units are on the same team. I don't know if oh no, that's right. Yeah, I want that to be exactly the same. And then valid secondary targets is going to be, uh, here, let me refactor this a little bit. Otherwise it's going to drive me nuts. So I want the idea when I refactor this area of effect is like, when I go to actually get the valid targets, it should just be able to look at the area of effect and find the targets and be really naive. In fact, it might be a common implementation across all the abilities if I do it this way. I would need to test that out. But anyway, so let's generate area of effect. And what do I need? I need a unit, target tile, and field state. Perfect. And then, you know what I can do with link, which is pretty nice, is map the tiles to units. Get unit for tile. And then where, whoops, the unit is not null. Something like that. What? Oh, return. What is it? Not happy. For add. Where's it trying to add? I'm missing something. Oh. That? No. All right, let me just break this down. Unreachable code. All right, let's take it one at a time. So this should be good like that, right? Why doesn't it even like that? Cannot convert from IEnumerable unit to unit. Oh, it's because got it. Okay, so if you're passing in an enumerable to create a list, it has to go in the parentheses. I've been tripped up on that. Okay, but then I want my where clause back in here. Oh, is that all I need? Nice. Do I need this return? I bet if I get rid of these, I don't need the return, huh? Is that how it works? Sweet. Okay, I'm figuring it out. I did a bunch of Swift development for the last couple of years and haven't done C# in a while, so still getting used to it. Some of the differences, specifically with like RX Swift and RX Java, which is sort of the equivalent here. Okay, so that's my primary, and then secondary is going to be like identical, but with the secondary tiles. Oh, except there's one other thing. Oh, that's right. That's why I can't do it this way. So I need it to be x doesn't equal null, and field state, this would have been a bug, dot, are units on same team with x and unit, so it has to be an ally. But for the secondary targets, it's going to be indiscriminate. So if it's same team or the other team, then it's going to cast fire on them. So that's the range, and that should actually be working now. So let's modify this here to do bomb ability range. And I guess we're passing in a range still, which is used for how far out to go. All right, so let's test that and make sure that that's looking right so far. If you're still watching, thank you very much. It's awesome. So it's pretty fun streaming. I think I'm going to keep doing this. I feel like it's a good natural way to be productive. And boom. So we can see that that range extends out in a width of 3 from the thrower towards the goal zone. If I try to click her, it won't let me because she's not on the right team. But if I click this guy, oh, cool. And look, our secondary tiles are showing up. So that's awesome. Cool, cool, cool. The ability system is working. It's doing its job. All right. Let's keep going. So next is always affect success rates. Oh yeah, I haven't talked about this. So this is pretty cool. And this is going to be interesting. So with each ability, there is a list of ability effects. And each effect can take place on like, a certain kind of unit. Each one has its own success rate. There's like, this is the actual logic that takes place when that effect is successful. And then there's also an animation that goes with it. And so there are some other abilities that have multiple effects. So we talked about punt earlier, and it starts by doing, right now it's just a toss ball. I need to get something in place for kicking, like a kicking animation and stuff like that. But the first thing it does is it tosses the ball. And then immediately after tossing the ball, it tries, like it does another effect that attempts to fumble at a 50% rate the ball. So you can kind of like, and then this little true flag here means that this effect only takes place if the effect before it was successful. So you can kind of like chain things together. So for us, we want something that's like the flame ability, but I think how it's structured right now, it's going to always attack the primary, only attack the primary target. Where's flame? Here's flame. So here's the ability effect for flame. So let's just bring this in as our second one. And I'm thinking I want to encourage ball movement in the game, and so most of the ball abilities have a 100% chance of success. Like if you can actually structure things to where you can throw the ball down the field, the last thing I want is for RNG to like not have that work out for you. That does not sound fun. Um, yeah, also it'll just encourage it because it's a not risky action. That's something else I was going to say about that, but I forgot. Anyway, okay, so we have this, which will also currently always work. So default unit filter, that just means anybody that hasn't been knocked out will be impacted. Balance damage effect action. Okay, let's look at this. So, oh right, it's just balance damage. This is going to be interesting. I don't know if I'm going to actually be able to do this easily, but let's just do a couple things here. Let's pull out an ability info. Because we'll need that to pass into the damage effect, and then there'll be a flame animation, so that's true. This true flag means that you have to have the ball in order to do the move. If I do this, I don't even think that this flag is referenced. I need to delete it, but I'll just say it's magic. So let's give this like a, I don't know, what was flames damage? This is like the damage parameter here, 30. I don't want it to be as strong as a normal one, but maybe something like a 20. So if I at least do this, I think what will happen is that guy will catch the ball and then we'll get fire damaged out to him. So let's see if that at least happens. Yeah, you can see BP -3 is going to take a little damage. We had this exact same issue with the punt ability. What did we do there? Punt ball effect animation. The camera is not supposed to go back right away. It's supposed to stay so you can watch the fire explode. I love how quick this loads up. That's awesome. There we go. Perfect. Did she not get experience points? Did I just miss it? That's weird. She did, but I didn't see it animate. Okay. I don't know what's going on with that. I think it just didn't show it. There's something. Let's go to flame. I think it's. I think I know what's happening. Let's try putting this default ability animation in. I think this just will sort of like wait to move. There's a different state that grants the experience points and checks for leveling up and all that kind of stuff. And There we go. Yeah. So I need to have actually a different one for that, but that's okay. All right. So that's kind of working. Wow, it's really weak though. I think that's because the thrower's magic like strength is not very high, and the caster's magic's defense is very high. So I can increase that, but all right. So now we need to figure out what we're doing with those surrounding units. Let me advance this case a little further to get some people surrounding. You're good. You're good. Stay there. Okay. Let's get people all around this guy. And then go back to our thrower and we'll save. All right. So what happens now? I'm curious. Right. Okay. It's actually closer than I thought to working. The issue is that it's going to, well, I actually don't know what it's going to do, but the prediction system is sort of thinking that it's going to throw to all of the allies and damage everyone. So let's just see what happens. Okay, yeah, it didn't actually do anything, but it actually looks like it's closer to working than I thought it would be. Let's... Let me see, how does this work? Execute success. I think what I want is actually inside the builder. So the builder builds this thing called a unit action. And this is where we have our target units and our secondary units, our effects. So let's come back to the predicted outcome in a second. I just want to remind myself of what this does. So enter execute effects on single unit. And I think that this only goes through the primary targets. Is that right? Tint execution. Where's this called? Right here. Okay, so when you click done, it's going to go into attempt execution, pending target units. Oh, it's just from here. Where's target units? Ah, they're primary. Okay, let me rename this. Is that right or no? Primary and secondary. So this is primary target. Primary target units. And then this has all of them. Okay, so then where's this referenced? Get primary and secondary units. Is this only in the UI? It's only in the UI and on the field. All right. So that's why I implemented that there. It doesn't actually do anything with it yet. So let me look at where the primary target units are referenced. So execute success, pending target units, tint execution. Need to think through how this is I got a chat. What's a realistic timetable for Christian McCaffrey's return? I'll talk about fantasy football. We could talk about fantasy football while I'm working. Uh, would I do Alvin and Waddle for CMC in London? Um, it's a good question. I still really like Alvin Kamara, but both him and McCaffrey are getting older. Is this in Dynasty? I guess it depends if it's Dynasty or seasonal. If it's seasonal, Alvin Kamara looked pretty good. I don't know what's going on with CMC's injury. And yeah, Waddle in London. I didn't get it. I don't know how did Waddle do last night? I didn't see the game, so I don't know how he did. And then with Drake London, it seems like their quarterback situation is still, I don't know, Cousins and Penix. I don't know what's going to happen there. So I'm not super high. I'm higher on Garrett Wilson than Drake London from that class. Personally, I have Kamara and Garrett Wilson on my dynasty team, so I know that's not helpful. I don't know. I don't have any inside information on the 49ers health, so wish I could help you. Back to my game. All right. So we have primary target units, and then this just implements the effects on all of them. Let me look at inner execute effect on units, pending units. I almost wonder if there's like a flag I should set where it's like secondary only or something. Should we try that? So let's see, if I go to an ability effect, there's like a flag for depends on previous effect. What if I did something like is secondary? Actually, it should be like an enum probably. And what do we want to call it? Like target type, where it's like the default is primary only, secondary only, and then like primary and secondary. This is kind of gnarly. The name target type doesn't exist. Why doesn't it like that? Oh, I'm missing. Oh, it's because I have a bool there too. Okay, there we go. So we have that. And then let's say the default for this is that primary only. That's how everything works now. I don't know. I'm just gonna try this and see if it works, or if it like looks feasible. And then in here, how do we want to do this? So we have these queues of units, and it's like each one should maybe be marked as being like a primary or a secondary, and then we include all of them. How awful does that look? Target unit. Just thinking it through. I don't know if this is the right way to go, but because then I think we would just like go through execute success for AI. Like this would become primary and secondary. Oh, wait, but okay, here's where I need to do the thing. Let me actually store off the secondary units too. And then let's work backwards. So here I need to know the target type for that unit and execute effects on a single unit. And then I can keep passing it through. And then right here, I can basically just say if the unit's not applicable, and maybe it's even like the check should come first. So if I say, oh wait, it's, ooh, this is even a little bit more complex. This is not target type. This is a Boolean. It says is primary. Maybe I need another enum, but it's just for two. All right, we'll just start with this primary, and then basically uh, pass that through there. And then here I want to do a check. I'll probably pull out an extension method, but I want to say switch effect dot target type. Oh, it's private. I need to. Oh, that's right. I kind of had a. Maybe it should be part of the unit filter. I don't know. I'm gonna have to redo this. I feel like that actually, since it's internal, it should show up. Effect dot target type. Yeah, that should work. Okay, case target type primary only. And then case target type primary and secondary. Oh, I can do this other cool thing where it's like var is target applicable equals effect dot target type switch. And then in here I do like these things. This is like pretty cool syntax. I'm still getting used to it. So if it's primary only, then this is just going to be like is primary. Secondary only would be like not is primary. And then primary and secondary would be true. And then the default case is invalid operation. We say unknown target type. Effect dot target type. Like that. All right. And then we say if is target applicable and the unit is applicable for the unit filter. Or I say if not that, or that. There we go. That's better. If it's not applicable or the unit's not applicable, then we just move on to the next one. So that works. And then let's work backwards through these. So inner execute effects on single unit. So here's where we need to know whether it's primary or not. So for now, I'm just going to turn this into a key value pair where it's unit bool. All right. And so then this will be pending units, target unit dot key, and then target unit dot value. Don't love it. I don't love it, but that's good enough for now. And then, yeah, so execute success for AI. So here's what we want to do. We want to make this a queue of key value pair unit bool. And let's say all units equals primary. Oh, let's see. So let's do all primary units. Select new key value pair. With a unit true. I guess that's X. And then same thing for the secondary. Secondary target units, and this is false. And then I want to do all primary units. Let's see, all units equals all primary units dot merge. Is there a merge? Or I think I can just do new list of key value pair. Nasty. With, can I just pass on both of these? All primary units, all secondary units, something like that. How do I merge two lists? Hang on. Concat. That's right. Okay. Cool. And then you extract this into a method. Build target units, target unit queue. I'll move this down here. Okay. And then I should be able to call that from here. Did that solve all of my issues? I think it did actually for the actual execution. Now, when I do this, I want to say that this target type primary and secondary. And then this one is target type primary only. So that looks really good here. The execute, like the implementation of it is questionable. All right. Let's see what this looks like. Still thinks that they're all going to catch the ball. All right. I need a quick break. I'll put on a game for you, and then we'll see if we can't get that fixed. I'll leave this on for your enjoyment, and be right back. All right, I'm back. Looks like it's chugging a little bit. Now people think that I can't tell if people are here for fantasy football advice, which I'm happy to give. Let's see, another question from Captain Joking. Huge fan of the show. I don't know if you're on the right show, but if you are, that's awesome. Already a sub. Cool. Thank you, if that's true. Am I wrong wanting to start Worthy over Adams this week? Devontae Adams? I don't think there's another Adams. Um, I'm a big fan of Devontae Adams. He's been on my dynasty team. Hang on a second. I think my stream is like frozen. Just a second, guys. If you can hear me, force quit Unity. See if I can recover here. Am I recovering? Am I recovering? Can you hear me? Let me see. The stream has not caught up yet. Okay. I'll keep this off for a second so it can hopefully recover back up. So I'm a big fan of Devontae Adams. He's been, as I said, he's been on my dynasty team for, I don't know. I forget if I added him to my team in his rookie year, but I think it was like a year. He had a couple of rough years at the beginning. So I really like Devontae Adams, but he's getting older, and the situation in Las Vegas is bleak, to say the least, for quarterbacks. Um, I did not start him last week, and I was thankful. I don't think this week's going to be any better. I'm putting Adams is in. He needs to prove it to me. Now Worthy, on the other hand, he looked like the second coming of Tyreek Hill in Kansas City. So you're not wrong. I don't think that's what I would do. Uh, yeah, definitely higher upside. I think right now with Worthy over Adams. Adams probably still has a good floor for a while, but he's like kind of him, DeAndre Hopkins. Those guys, they're getting older. They don't do what they used to. Hope that answers your question. This would be cool if this turns into like a game dev and fantasy football chat. I once again, I can't tell if you guys are serious or if you're like on the wrong show, but I'm 100% here for it. Could be a cool angle that I didn't think of, but it makes sense. Okay, so Unity froze during the game that I put on. Uh, Let me put this back. Oh, cool. It actually saved. So if I just run this, it should be back where I want it to be. Yeah, sorry, the stream went out. So I think the next bug we need to fix is it should not be thinking that all of these guys are going to catch the ball. And that only looks like it's taking place in the prediction UI. So let's look at what prediction is going to do. Get predicted effect outcomes. We got some duplicated code. So I think we just need to duplicate that logic here. Just not great, but it's doable. So let's pull this into a utility method at least. Okay, is target applicable? And static, nice. If you guys have any more fantasy questions, I can answer them, I guess. It's pretty funny. I'm excited about that. I've never given fantasy football advice publicly until today. Uh, and it's right here, right? So we need, oh, why doesn't it like it? Private. Oh, right. Okay, so this is where this needs to also say whether it's primary or not. And this is actually just passing in the is primary flag, I think, right? Or is it? Oh, why does it need the effect? Oh, because the effect target type. Well, we have the effect. Easy enough. All right, so if not is target applicable or not that, then you continue. Is that all I need? Oh, done unit. Okay, right. So done and move are special. I don't know. I don't know why. Um, at least for move, I could probably migrate to the ability system. Done is special because it's just like a marker. It doesn't, there's like nothing actually, it just, and it also has some special like access to ending the current turn and all that kind of stuff. Okay, one more. Ah, perfect. Hey, this is starting to make sense. So now, where all is this referenced? Is it just here? Ah, right. So those two are actually okay, but for this one, and I'm calling it twice, I actually sort of like need, yeah, let's just move this to the key value pair. Oh boy, I hate doing this because now it's unnamed. I'd be like, what does that bool mean? Ah, let's get it working, and then if I have time, maybe we can refactor it real quick. Maybe we can answer another football question. I'm gonna end the stream here in a little bit for lunch, and if I keep doing this, I'll probably do this on like Mondays and Fridays for a few hours. Like I said, it's pretty fun. If we can talk about football, even better. Uh, Yep, so I'm just going to do that. And then this is going to return that thing. So this will give me a whole bunch of other compiler errors. So let's work through it. First off, this should not be doing this. So um, all targets. Let's only get that stuff once. And then this is going to be all targets. Like that. Gnarly. I'll probably just refactor that offline. It's going to be oh, what did it? Oh yeah, just a Boolean, right? And it's actually this thing that we want. It's very wasteful. Just shaking my head because I don't like this. Okay, we'll just do it. Okay, if we're doing this for now, at least I can get rid of this. Oh, there's even that to list thing there. Yeah, it'll work. Done unit action. Almost there. Good news is I think this is actually gonna work. More problems. Ah, right. Okay, this is simple enough though. All right, and then let's do one other thing. I sort of use warnings liberally to track tech debt like this. So refactor this key value pair into a reasonable and name structure. Also to store this off as field so we don't rebuild every time. So that's pretty expensive for actually absolutely no reason. But it's not as entertaining as getting bomb working. Get bomb working. Okay, so now the prediction UI should be fixed if that worked. Beautiful. Look at that. All right. This spell is not strong enough. That's not enough damage for a bomb. Let's make those run in parallel too. I think I have a flag for that. Is it right here? Run targets in parallel. It's for everything. So on the builder itself, run targets in parallel. Requires unit with football. Let's name these. Run targets in parallel. Now my hope is that I think it should still do the first effect before moving on. So it should do like the long throw and then all the fire all at once on these guys. Let's go ahead and bump the power up here. It ran everything at once. That's weird. That doesn't look right. Let me see what run targets in parallel does. If run targets in parallel, then execute effects on single unit. Oh, I see. It goes through by target, not by unit. Out of curiosity, yeah, I don't know. I think I might need to move this run targets in parallel down to the effect level. And then like at this level, it should be like run effects in parallel or something. I don't know. I'll just deal with it for now. Uh, more importantly, the bomb ability range needs to be a little bit more dynamic and not start for a little bit. So let's do a couple of things. So let's add a gap, and then let's rename this to like min range. And then like here, let's do if I is less than gap, then we continue, I think. Oh wait, no, we don't want to discontinue. We want to actually get the next tile and modify the next tile. So I think if I put this here, that'll work. And then we have our min range, but then let's add a bonus for the height. So height bonus. Let's get field state. Oh, so we have from tile actually. So from tile dot height, total height. And let's like maybe for every 2 units of height, you get like 1 extra range. Explicitly make this an int. We'll floor it maybe. I just want it to like do the, why doesn't this do the right thing? All right, min range. So height bonus. So what we want to do is say, uh, let's say range is going to equal the maximum. Wait, how do I want this to work? If min range is higher than height bonus, then it should just be min range. Oh, let me do it this way. So height bonus minus equals min range, and then height bonus equals max of 0 and height bonus. and then we do min range plus height bonus. So this way, like let's say this turns out to be, so if you're at height 6, then you don't get any bonus, but if you go higher, maybe that's like not enough though. I don't know. Let's, I don't have height listed out on the tile, so let's like really exaggerate it. So you get like, you just get, however high you are, you get 1 extra range. And then, so like if this is 10, then the height bonus is going to be sitting at 7 because you're guaranteed to get the 3. And then the max of 0 and 7 is that. So then we add that. So then it's 10. But then if you're like at 3 or below, I want it to be 3. Maybe there's a simpler way to do that. I think this is right though. Cool. So that's awesome. And then this is going to break. So let's say, I think we said we wanted a gap of like 3. And then the min range, I think, should be 3. So it'll like create a little square that's out in front of you. But then it'll stretch out if you're up high, is how it should work. We should be able to see that pretty easily if we test it out here. So 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, look at that. That tested out real good. Or stretched out real good. And he's just far enough away. So let's see, if I move, she can't get down from there. It still looks pretty good. So if she moves down, and it doesn't go as far. That was pretty cool. All right. That's what I wanted. I'll have to tweak the numbers at some point. Yeah, I forgot that the system works by iterating through the targets first and not the effects. So that's why that's a little bit tricky to do. And let's see, if I stay back here, she can throw it further without moving up. That's really cool. And then I'll probably want to change the animation so the ball goes like way up high in the air. Anything else? For now, I think that's pretty good. So yeah, if you watched this, thank you very much. So just trying this for the first time and trying different ways to get the word out about my game and find other people that are interested in this kind of thing, like tactics games or football or the combination of the two, or game development in general, and apparently actual like fantasy football. So that's pretty fun to chat about fantasy football. I'm happy to talk about Dynasty weekly or whatever. I don't do much daily, so I can't help you with that. But yeah, and I'm going to try to do this on Mondays and Fridays going forward if you guys like it. So if you did like it, as I see other YouTubers do all the time, please like and subscribe. And that will tell me to keep doing this. That'll be good motivation. You can comment with questions or feedback about the game. And then, of course, please wishlist the game on Steam if you haven't. It's available to wishlist now and should be coming out next year. So yeah, thank you all. I hope you have a great weekend and good luck with your fantasy matchups this weekend. Take care.